Greetings, Ohio Valley. This is Dan Lima with OSU Extension from Belmont County.
And this is Karen Cox from WVU Extension in Ohio County. Thanks for tuning in to Extension Calling, your source for research-based information for the farm, garden, and home. All right, another week has passed, and we are back with another show.
That's right. Today we're going to talk about some of the great programs that Extension offers, and this one's a nationwide program.
It's actually international.
International.
It's international, okay. Yeah.
Well, there we go. Big program. Doing good things.
And we're going to talk about the Master Gardener program today and the potential outcome it could have for you as a person interested in learning about plants and growing things, and also the value to your community.
Right. So the Master Gardener Volunteer Program is in the name. It's a horticulture-based volunteer program where we do provide education, and the idea is to do outreach through horticulture-based research. So it still follows the mission of the land-grant universities, but it has a focus of gardening and horticulture, which really appeals to a lot of country, suburbs, urban environments. And it's one of those programs that's accepted in so many counties because it has such a diverse application to it. And it's just relatable to many.
Right. And it's really great because it is an international program. A lot of times when you move from, like, say, one state to another, you can transfer your Master Gardener credentials over to your new home, which is great because then you don't have to go through the training course again. But one of the things I have learned since I've started working with Master Gardeners is that they all pretty much have a desire to learn. And so they often will come to the program year after year because, you can always pick up something new because there's a whole lot of information that kind of gets thrown at you. So let's just start with that. And it is 40 hours of very intensive horticultural education. So you learn about soils and vegetables and fruits and fruit trees and tree trees and all sorts of other stuff, but it's all condensed down. And so it's kind of overwhelming, but people come back year after year because they always pick up something new, and we have different presenters and that offer different perspectives on topics, which can also help you understand things from a different light as well.
Yeah, and it's just so fun to have different speakers, having your colleagues come. I know Karen comes over here across the river, presents trees typically, and she does an excellent job, and they love her.
Aw.
Well, I mean, you're okay. All right. Well, they really enjoy you. Maybe that's better. It's a better way to put it. But you're making this awkward, Karen. But
it meant something to hear you say that. That's all. I like it when people want to come to my talks.
No, they do. They do. They get very excited. In fact, a lot of the speakers that do hear Karen's talk on trees, because her expertise is in trees, and I like how she went trees and fruit trees, and it all makes sense when you see the talk. But they do, it's like I can't give them that perspective on trees that Karen can give them. So we all specialize, and we all typically teach something fun, which makes the class more fun, which makes learning fun, and I think everyone just gets so much more out of it. So that's one of the reasons why I think it is such a successful program. So many applications to a diverse audience, diverse counties. And then you have different expertise from educators, and they can pretty much kind of hone in on something they really get passionate about. And that just resonates with the with the people in the audience learning. So it's a great program, does so much community outreach. It's well known. And the first Master Volunteer program actually originated in Seattle, Washington, and that was in 1972. And from that first program in, I think it's King County, Washington State.
I think that's right.
It just exploded. It just went from coast to coast. And now it's one of those a lot of people have it as a core program in their outreach and their mission and extension to have this group and to do good things in the community, but also keep that research-based information and that land grant mission that's kind of tied around horticulture, but it's still very tied to the land grant mission.
Right. Yeah. And, let's talk about why it started. So, back in the 70s, the county agents started getting a lot more home gardener calls and with needs for information. And so the home gardener audience really was overwhelming the county agents. And so this program was begun with the idea that if we can train some volunteers, then they can also help respond to this intensive need for outreach and education amongst the home gardener. And we're seeing a big surge in that again. With COVID, a lot of people started growing vegetable gardens, and then, they learned that there's a lot more to it than just putting a seed in the ground. And so again, people are reaching out, trying to get good information. And unfortunately, and fortunately, we have the internet now, and the internet is full of a lot of information. And there's a couple great things because it's out there, it's easy to find. But the problem is a lot of the information out there is misinformation, and it can send you down the wrong road, like pouring bleach into your garden. There's a lot of weird stuff out there. So you have to be careful about what you're looking for online. And through Extension, we try to filter out all of the crazy theories and just give you stuff that's research-based. And Extension Master Gardeners can help be that bridge between the county agent and the home gardener to help them understand the best ways to grow things. And it's always fun when you see someone that they get back to you like, hey, thank you so much for that advice. This is the result. Look at my beautiful garden now. And my tomatoes actually survived this year. And it's really nice to hear those kinds of things. And as a master gardener, you get that opportunity to work with other people and work with other master gardeners. So you're continually learning too.
That's right. And the mission kind of varies a little bit state to state, but at its core, it's all the same. So for Ohio, the mission is we are Ohio State University Extension, trained volunteers, empowered to educate others with timely research-based gardening information. So another attractant to the program is that you get to be part of the university. I know our volunteers, we started doing this home garden trials, and it's actually part of the college where they're testing out two varieties. Typically, it's an established variety versus more of an experimental variety. And they do them with guidelines. There's a data sheet, and it's not super complicated, but they're basically doing research for the college all over the state. And then they send the information in, and the state will compile it all together, possibly run statistics, and they get to see the results of their work. So you just get to be a part of stuff like that. And I know that's it's time consuming. It takes dedication, but it's also very rewarding in the fact that you're not only helping people, but you're also being part of the university and you're developing things for people.
That's right. And, the fun thing about the Master Gardener program is it can be what you want it to be. Once you've gone through the training and are a certified Extension Master Gardener and you go out to do your volunteer work can be whatever you want it to be. It can be doing research. It can be working with a local school for their youth education program. It could be working in a community garden. It could be going out to other Master Gardener programs and doing presentations. It's whatever you feel your strong suit is. It's that you get to choose that as your volunteer time. And so it's really a great opportunity to put your personal strengths to work, but also an opportunity for you to grow and expand those personal strengths. Maybe you've been growing tulips for years and you've learned a lot of neat little tricks about tulips, maybe how to prevent deer from eating them. That would be a magic trick. But, maybe you want to talk to other people about tulips. It gives you that opportunity to do a little short presentation in front of a friendly audience to your local Master Gardener Club. There's all sorts of opportunities for you to continue your volunteer hours in a way that makes you feel comfortable and that you're giving back to your community.
Yeah, and you're integrating with people that have the same interests as you. You're networking. You're learning new things. Like I said, you're part of the university now. There's just a lot of rewards that can come out of it. And I just kind of want to go over some of the initiatives that the Master Gardeners do. So like you'll learn certain terminology that you'll come across, and now it makes more sense because you've been through the training program and you've heard these terms, and you just keep getting more and more out of gardening and literature, and you're finding out more about research-based information. So some of the initiatives include integrated pest management, which is something that I hear a lot, but I don't know if it always makes sense to people. So with integrated pest management, you learn different approaches to problems, ways to figure out the best ways to manage pests from different angles, from different perspectives. You learn about invasive species. You get updates on the ones that are causing certain harm, and you're able to identify those. And maybe you've never really noticed them, and now that you've been taught them, now you can't unsee them. That happens a lot.
This is true.
You learn about backyard foods and local foods, and then just different aspects of the environment as far as how the environment is impacting our gardens. So it really changes your perspective on things, and you gain the knowledge of the language of research and just everything. When you read something, you get so much more out of it, is what I find with the Master Gardeners.
Yeah, and if you're just starting out in your career, it's a great opportunity to even put that on your resume. So let's say that you want to go into landscaping or anything that has anything to do with horticulture. You're applying to be on a farm or things like that. It's a great thing to have on your resume because it shows that not only have you gotten some training, but you have also shown an initiative to do outreach and education for your community, and you are more engaged citizen. And so that always looks good on a resume. But a lot of people who take the program are retired. And so there's a great variety of people and age groups and backgrounds. And it's really fun at least for me, watching the students get to know one another. And one of my favorite things from the reviews of the program was, I joined because I wanted to learn more about gardening. I've been a lifetime gardener and just wanted to learn more. What I didn't expect was to get a friend. And, it is quite difficult sometimes to make friends later in life. And so to be able to have two Master Gardeners that became really close friends. And so that was a really fun thing for me to see, to know that not only did they expand their gardening knowledge, but they made really good friends too. So there's lots of benefits.
Right. It's amazing how you put people with similar interests in a group. So gardening as one interest, being a volunteer outreach is another interest, and then just wanting to do things together. That's why we see so many friendships evolving from it, because you are putting like-minded people together, and the mission is always a positive thing. It's always a mission of volunteerism and making things better, beautification, research, just always wanting to improve yourself and improve others always brings the best in people.
That's true, yeah. And one of the worst parts, I'm going to throw this one out there, one of the worst parts of being a Master Gardener is keeping track of what you do, because you just want to go out, you're going to play in the community garden today, or you're going to go meet with your kids' school group today, or you're going to go on a walk and talk about butterflies, and you just want to go out and do stuff. And unfortunately, with the Master Gardener program, you do have to record the hours that you go out and do that fun stuff and write it down, and then be able to submit that at the end of the year, because you have to have 20 volunteer hours every year to maintain your certification status. So you have to have 40 hours to get started, and then 20 hours every year after that to maintain your certification, because you can only use your Master Gardener title if you are an active member of the organization. So that means that you are maintaining your education with 10 hours a year, and you are maintaining your volunteerism with 20 hours a year. And then you have to report that back to your local agent who's managing your Master Gardener program. Now, some programs are regional, some programs are countywide. It all depends on where you are, what your state is, and how your university is managing the Master Gardener program. But do reach out to your local extension agent and find out, hey, I want to be a Master Gardener, I want to learn about gardening, and I want to, help others learn about gardening, and find out what your local community group is like. Go to a meeting or two and, hey, I want to learn more about this program. I want to make sure I like the people I'm hanging out with before I start. And I guarantee you'll probably be hooked.
That's right. And a lot of these programs do have Facebook pages and web pages. So even if you just look up Master Gardener programs in a state and a county, sometimes you'll find their Facebook page and you can see pictures of some of their programs. You'll get to kind of see what they do. So there is a lot of social media out there revolving around the Master Gardeners. So you can see, what are they doing in my community, and does it look fun, and would I have fun doing it? And that's just a great way to get a look at it without, even going to a meeting. Just kind of, you got some downtime. Just take a look and see if that's something that interests you. And if it is, do what Karen says. Reach out to the extension office, see if you can go to a meeting, and then just, as you go, you get more and more information, and hopefully you'll commit.
Yeah, and there's also a program out there called the Junior Master Gardeners, which is designed for, I want to say, elementary and middle school year age kids. And it's a really fun program, but this is not as widespread as the regular Master Gardener program. So the Junior Master Gardener program, you can take a training to become a certified Junior Master Gardener leader, and then you can create a local group. And that's another great opportunity. It's an extracurricular learning opportunity for youth in your region. So check out the Junior Master Gardener program online, especially if you're a teacher and you want to bring gardening into your classroom. That's a great opportunity for you to get a certification and bring those learning curriculums into your classroom, because it does come with a curriculum guide, and there's a lot of different aspects you can do from that guide. So depending on how you want to go, it's got reading and writing and math and science and music, and there's all sorts of different things you can teach through that Junior Master Gardener curriculum.
Yeah, and there are just so many different avenues you can take it. Just some examples of some of the Belmont County programs. We have the plant swap, which the community brings in plants, and Master Gardeners label them, organize them, and are able to swap plants at certain parts of the year. That's always a big event. There's gardening projects for beautification. We're involved in the farmers market, the fair. We help judge some of the produce, and just the different the junior fair booths, things like that. We're also partner with tourism for the Rubberneck Tour. And there's workshops and talks with other garden clubs. There's usually, Karen and I were always discussing what kind of projects that we like to do with our Master Gardeners. And I've always found that, like if you're volunteering, you should be having fun volunteering, you should be comfortable volunteering. So we try to do many, many different things. And it's always nice to have a team doing certain projects and having committees. and you'll find something that you like to do. You'll usually find that diversity in different projects. You usually find other people to work with, and you might develop new interests just by putting yourself out there a little bit more. But especially if you're volunteering, you need to be getting something out of it. And hopefully you are, because I don't think you would stick around too long if you're not.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and I think it's just human nature. I mean, it's just, and then things happen in your life, and you might have to step away from the program for a while because you just don't have that time to give, maybe, or even you just don't have the health to be able to do certain things that you did before.
Yeah, and with the Master Gardener program, there's a 3-year rule. If you need a break from it, you can take a 3-year break without having to retake the training. But they do ask that you do some volunteer work to get back into the program to make sure that you are, that you're still interested in doing the outreach portion of the program. So there is a 3-year. If you've been out for a little while, like Dan said, maybe you got an illness, or you had a baby, or who knows, there's a lot of things in life that can take you away from doing some outreach and activity. And you're like, oh, I don't want to retake that whole class. It was, even though you'll probably still learn new things. But if you have the manual still, and you're getting your feet back under you and you want to start up again, like, look, I was a Master Gardener in this location during this year, and, can I transfer over? And just reach out and ask about that. Figure out what you need to do to get back on board.
That's right. And it's going to vary a little bit depending on the county you're in, the state you're in. But yeah, I want to say that 99% of all the educators out there understand these things, and they want volunteers. They want good volunteers, and they understand that things happen.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to work with people.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, right? Volunteerism, of course, you're working with people. And it's the people that make it rewarding and that make it fun. And that's the core of your impact, is the expertise in that group. So,
right. And, and speaking of that expertise, one of the things, like, I get calls from new homesteaders all the time that, they just bought some property and, they want to homestead and be able to produce food for themselves. And so the first thing I say is, have you taken the Master Gardener program? And even though they come into the program not wanting to do outreach and education, they come into the training because they want to learn how to produce for themselves. And they take the program, and then they learn that, well, this guy or gal they were sitting next to has been gardening their whole life, and will be able to give them some more practical tips, or is willing to come out to their property and help work with them, or they meet up at the community garden and share skills over there. Learning is doing and doing is learning. So it's a great opportunity if you are starting up your own homestead, or looking to get into agriculture as a business, to even start off with the Master Gardener program. Also helps you get not only knowledge, but it also helps you get connections with the local community, and helps to build those networks that are so vital in agriculture. And I've had many of a new farmer take this program and let me know later that they were so glad that they went through it, and it really helped them get their feet under them as a producer. So even if you aren't looking at becoming a volunteer, think about how this program could potentially improve your personal production, and think about those volunteer hours as hands-on learning opportunities, especially if you are going to be working in a community garden, or maybe your local soup kitchen has a garden and you're going to go work there and donate all that food back to the soup kitchen. There's a lot of different opportunities to learn and build your personal skills to take home with you, but also giving back to the community at the same time.
Yeah, 100%, Karen. You're exactly right. So I say we like to rotate educators, right, in different presentations. And anytime I have somebody new in, I just, you sit there and you're listening to somebody talk, at least in my class, for about 3 hours. So we're actually doing a program. It's going to start mid-October, and it's going to go through mid-November. It's 2 classes a week, 10 instructors. I'm one of them. Karen's one of them. And all my colleagues are all part of this as well. But again, like when Karen talks about trees, I can't convey trees like she does. So I'm sitting there, I know a lot about trees, but I'm always picking up something new. We're always learning, we're always developing. I teach botany, I teach plant physiology. And if I learn something new, I incorporate it into the talk and try to make things better, try to improve things every time. But you're just always picking up pieces of knowledge that you didn't have before. And that's what's fun about the classes. A lot of people that went through the curriculum still go back and get refreshers. And there is just so much value in this curriculum that they develop.
Oh yeah. And even as a educator, every time I learn something new about, going through the ISA certification program, learning new things about trees, I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to add this section into my presentation. So I'm all the time giving a new presentation too. So it's a great learning opportunity all around. One of the things that I learned, it went back when I was in college, was the best way to learn a new skill is to teach about it, or even just to develop a presentation. If you're not going to want to stand up in front of someone, develop a presentation on how you could teach someone about it. And that is a great learning technique. It really helps to cement the important aspects of what you're learning and allows your brain to categorize it in a lot of different locations so that you can remember it better. So really, if you want to know a topic, teach it, give a presentation on it.
Yeah. And another great way to learn a topic is to try it, to struggle, to fail again and keep struggling.
That's right.
And then maybe succeeding kind of, but just learning through mistakes. We're humans, and obviously gardening is it's just an experiment every time. You try things a little different, you move things around, you have and a lot of times you have the academic knowledge, but then it's different when you apply it. And even when you do it, you change the approach that you're going to present it from an academic perspective, just because you realize that it can be construed a few different ways, and you just learn how to develop things better. I'm Karen gardens. I like to garden. I like to grow things. And it's trial and error, and you have different pest pressures, disease pressures that you're learning about. And it just becomes like life is a learning experiment, and you just keep incorporating that into the program, and people share stories. There's just so much value in the program and the people that take the program and the way it's set up.
That's so true. That's so true. And like we started out, reach out to your local office and find out about your local Master Gardener program. A lot of times they do community outreach. Go to one of their presentations and, dip a toe and ask questions, and maybe you'll just find your new group of friends that is going to guide you through the next stage of your life. And with that, we're out of time. So happy gardening, everybody, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening to Extension Calling. This show is a collaboration between OSU Belmont County Extension Educator Dan Lima and WVU Ohio County Extension Agent Karen Cox. If you'd like a transcript of this show, contact us at the office. Also, let us know if you enjoy the show by ranking us on your podcast app.